Hello and welcome. Our top focus today remains on Sudan. 2 years into a brutal civil war, the country now stands on the brink of a formal divide. Sudan's paramilitary, the Rapid Support Force, or the RSF, has announced a parallel government to the rival of the army-backed administration that it is battling. The RSF, led by Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, the former deputy to the General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, declared the formation of the Government of Peace and Unity as the war enters its third year. In February, the RSF and its allies signed a charter in Kenya, proclaiming a parallel government in areas under their control. Its charter talks about a secular, democratic and decentralized state with a new national army to replace the existing military structures. But the RSF is not alone in this government. Its new administration includes multiple armed and political groups, some of whom were earlier allies of the government. It also includes civilian politicians who once served in Sudan's 2019 transitional government. No country has yet recognized the RSF's new government. On the contrary, regional heavyweights like Egypt and Saudi Arabia have openly rejected it. On the battlefield, the balance has begun to shift. The Sudanese army has recaptured Khartoum and is pushing back RSF advances. But the RSF still controls vast territories, particularly across Darfur, Gezira, and parts of Kordofan. As the RSF announced its parallel government, the United Kingdom hosted a major conference to mark 2 years of the Sudan war. The summit, co-hosted by the African Union, European Union, France and Germany, brought together key stakeholders including the United States, Kenya, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar, Türkiye and the UAE. But absent from the table were the warring parties themselves. The conference failed to produce a joint agreement or to establish a contact group for ceasefire. Diplomatic disputes between Arab powers, particularly Egypt, Saudi Arabia and the UAE, blocked consensus on a final statement. As per reports, officials struggle to find neutral phrasing acceptable to Egypt, which maintains ties with the Sudanese army, and the UAE, which Sudan accuses of arming the rival RSF. Now, Sudan has dragged the UAE to the International Court, accusing it of aiding the RSF and being complicit in genocide. The UAE has been accused of secretly supplying weapons to the paramilitary groups in Sudan via Chad, a charge it strongly denies. However, for the first time, Saudi Arabia and Egypt have publicly distanced themselves from Abu Dhabi's alleged role. Now, this highlights growing tensions between the Gulf powers over Sudan. A deeply divided international front is further hampering the path to peace. As per estimates, over 150,000 people have been killed in the Sudan conflict, and more than 14 million are now displaced, marking the world's largest displacement crisis. As RSF declares a new government with no international recognition and a resurgent army on the offensive, its future remains deeply uncertain. Unless a political solution is found, Sudan risks not just continued bloodshed, but permanent fracture. Now, to discuss this further, we have with us Mohamed Al-Assam, who is the director of the Sudanese Center for Policy Studies, joining us live from Cairo in Egypt. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Alison. Thank you for having me.
Now, Mohamed, what are the potential implications of the RSF's declaration of this Government of Peace and Unity for Sudan's territorial integrity and its political future?
Yes. So basically, I think it will just formalize the status quo, where we have areas of control between the army and the RSF for almost 2 years, more than 2 years now. We are entering the third year of the war. This areas of control between the two parties will be formalized by the creation of RSF of its parallel government. Of course, a direct challenge to the national unity of the country, and but still, as you said, the political legitimacy of this parallel government will still be in question in the near future.
Yes. And how might the RSF's move alter the dynamics of this ongoing conflict with the army-led administration under General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan?
Yeah, I think the real intensity now, and it has been for quite a few time, will be around Al-Fashir. Al-Fashir is the capital city of North Darfur state, which is still controlled by the army. The RSF is trying very hard to capture Al-Fashir to complete its control over Darfur, the whole of that Darfur region, which is a very large part of the country. They recently captured a major nearby refugee camp. It's called Zamzam, and that resulted in grave violations, atrocious violations, including the killing of 9 humanitarian workers there from an international NGO. Al-Fashir, as I said, is the last army-held city in Darfur. And I think it will be crucial for the RSF. They really want to have some sort of geographical integrity in Sudan to capture Al-Fashir, of course, for the army to make that harder and to try to defend the Sudan unity. They will defend very hard around Al-Fashir city. I think the real danger that Sudan is facing regarding the long-term unity of the country is not really what's happening in the ground. It's more of the polarization, the hate speech, the rhetoric that we have been following by the two parties. Around the ethnic base targeting of individuals, of civilians, attributing them to one of the warring parties based on their ethnic background, their tribes. And that is the real danger, of course, along with the external support that have somehow turned this war into full-fledged proxy war right now.
Yes, absolutely. And on that, what role, if any, are the regional and, of course, the international actors expected to play in response to this latest development? And how might it influence the diplomatic efforts to end the war?
So I will start that it will be very, very hard for any recognition, any regional or international recognition of the RSF announced parallel government. It's very hard. We have never seen that in the AU, for instance, or the African regional bodies. The African Union is, as I said, is highly unlikely because of a lot of the international legal criteria required for the recognition of states and the AU principles. But it remains that the major risk will be that this step will make the pathway towards peace much, much harder. Especially now we will see the supporters of the warring parties taking much more firm positions, as we have seen in the London conference yesterday, where they failed to reach a consensus point even for a contact group. So I think this new reality will need a different approach towards bringing these two warring parties together. And I think we need to consider speaking directly with the warring party supporters. Particularly, we know that the UAE, evidenced by a lot of UN reports, have been heavily supporting the RSF. And I think they will fully sponsor this new parallel government. And we need to have direct calls with the backers of the RSF and the SAF, UAE, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. They need to be much more involved, directly involved by the international community in the talks ahead regarding the efforts to stop the war in Sudan.
Right. Mohamed, thank you very much for being with us on Firstpost Africa.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
No, I love India.
Presence, occupation,
of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Bluntly, Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.